everyone, and welcome to the Sonic Shuffle, a random and holistic Sonic lore podcast. I'm one of the students, Morgan.
I am the other student, Devin.
And I am the teacher, Dan. We watched some more Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I can't think of any news off the top of my head. So I'm just gonna remind people, E3's coming up. By the time this goes up, it'll probably be mid E3. And from what I understand, the actual, presentations are gonna stretch out quite a bit. I think it's actually gonna go past the 15th. Once the Sega presentation occurs, and by the time you hear this, it might have been. I don't have the schedule open. But you'll hear about it then. You will hear about it on the 19th. Or the day after, depending on if I don't have enough time to edit by the 19th. Anyways. So we watched, we watched 2 episodes. But there was originally going to be an episode that we were going to watch that we described on last week's episode. And I got about 8 minutes in before I realized this is too unbearable to, even if I am talking about something really funny. I'm just gonna skip past it. And so we did. So instead, I will describe to Morgan Devon the first 8 minutes of Would Have Been a Beautiful Baby. And then last 1 minute.
Oh, God.
Would Have Been a Beautiful Baby. Episode 28. We open with Scratch and Grounder. They've stuffed Sonic and Tails into a rolling device, like a big bingo rolling device. And then they get out, and Tails has static cling. Same with Sonic. It's like as if they climbed into a dryer, which is fitting because they seem to be doing this scheme in a laundromat. Scratch and Grounder set up an automatic static schmatic beam. That's what it's called. And it's getting Sonic and Tails covered in laundry from the static cling. However, Sonic runs around the machine and redirects it at Scratch and Grounder, getting them covered in stuff like cartoon boxer shorts. I don't remember what happens here, but Scratch and Grounder get blasted off again, like Team Rocket. And then Robotnik comes into frame, and we find out this is a tape a tape of their last attempt to capture Sonic and Tails that went horribly wrong. Scratch and Grounder basically review it as if it were a movie.
I like how he makes them watch their failures. And said, now where did you screw up here?
Mm-hmm. I have a joke written in my notes about On Cinema, but with Scratch and Grounder. And Robotnik just spends a moment mourning over how it could be years before he finally catches Sonic. He could be an old man by then. To comfort him, Scratch and Grounder point out that so it's Sonic. And that gives Robotnik an idea. He's going to age Sonic into an old man so he will be very easy to catch.
God.
Yeah, he develops a laser beam that looks like a big tuba called the decrepitizing ray. and he, like, shows a little cinematic of Sonic rapidly aging. We cut to Sonic and Tails, and this shot is, like, right after this shot of Tails sitting by himself at a table, in the middle of a desert off the edge of a cliff is simply astounding. I posted it on Twitter last night.
Did you post it on the Sonic Twitter or your own Twitter?
No, just my own Twitter. Sonic brings over a handful of dust to Tails for their dinner, and then he reveals they're instant chili dogs. He then the thing that bothers me is that it's just loose powder. Like so, imagine.
So is any bit of powder you find in the Sonic world just like a chili dog waiting to happen?
Unfortunately, no, because after the Sonic turns these handfuls of dust into instant chili dogs, Tails tries to do the same thing with a huge pile of dust nearby, but it's just dirt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. And then Sonic points out to Tails that there's a factory that makes instant food, and that they want food tasters. So I guess they're going to do that. We get this, like, sped up footage of them, like, eating from, like, cartoon conveyor belts at the instant food factory. Tails gets covered in food. He gets messy with it, but then he wipes it off with his tail, so it's fine. And then there's like a bit where Tails just eats powder straight. Then Scratch and Grounder show up with their decrepitizing ray. Tails, meanwhile, is drinking some water because he already ate the powder and he's gonna turn it into food in his stomach. But this was a bad idea because Tails gets, like, blown up.
Oh, like, no.
It's also, like, a weird sort of blown up where he deliberately looks kind of weird and freaky, like maybe they had been watching Ren and Stimpy or something.
Oh my god. The show is obsessed with making them inflated and big. Big and
more
round.
inflation.
Mm-hmm. But it's around this point that Scratch and Grounder are able to hit Sonic and Tails with the decrepitizer, and it turns out they have it in reverse.
Of course,
so
Sonic
and Tails turn into babies. There's a whole lot of baby jokes, very Rugrats. Sonic runs away to never mind. Tails just, like, smashes up the decrepitizer, and we get, like, we get Jaleel White doing a weird baby voice saying offering to fix the decrepitizer, and when Scratch tells baby Sonic no, he starts crying, and this weird Jaleel White Urkel baby cry was so weird and upsetting that I realized this was a mistake and stopped watching it. But I did. Yeah.
Yeah, baby Sonic sounds like something that is entirely too much.
Yeah.
That's so funny that the cry was just, like, too much for you, and you were like, nope. We're not watching
I would never
this.
subject somebody to this.
Yeah. But I did have us watch the Sonic Says at the end. I don't know if you watched it, I just included it.
Which
fits
more with it fits more with the beginning anyway. It fits more with the part that you actually watched. with the dryer.
Having not seen the episode, I was so confused where they're like, hey kids, don't climb into a dryer.
Yeah.
It's still confusing. I think it's still confusing. I think it's very strange.
Sonic's lesson this week is, kids, the idea of tossing around in a dryer might sound like fun, but it's incredibly dangerous and deadly and you'll die, so don't do it. I personally wonder if, like, at the time some news story went out about something like this, because that sounds like a very early 90s sort of thing.
What the fuck? Like, legitimately, I've had, like, nightmares about, like, my cat getting in there, but, like, a human being? No. Like, what the fuck?
Whoever read this episode Whoever wrote this episode had just read Blue Moon Nursery and heard about that part about that baby Smurf in the dryer. And was like, no, not like the kids.
Devin!
I am just saying they were very, very focused on one thing.
Yeah, the thing is, maybe it would have been funny for me to describe it on this podcast, but I simply could not subject myself or anyone else to actually watching that whole episode.
Oh, it's weirdly like it, too, because they're babies. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I hate that.
I'm telling you. They had just read Blue Moon Nursery.
Oh, no.
They thought the Smurfs were real. They said, don't put your baby Smurf in the dryer.
No.
Don't do that.
No. If you want more context for that, I guess you could listen to the Night Marinara on Smurfs, but, like, no.
You could also go look up Blue Moon Nursery.
No, don't!
You should not do that.
And I'm not even saying that, I know saying, like, oh, don't makes you want to look it up more. It's, like, legitimately, like,
it is the worst thing online.
It's, like, uncomfortably sexual towards young Smurfs, so I would say no. Don't look it up.
Yeah.
It exists, but don't look it up. Thankfully, they kind of censor some parts of it when they, like, talk about it on Night Marinara, so that's why I'm, like, more okay with people listening to it.
Yeah. If you
must
listen to it via Night Marinara. All right.
Because I understand. I also like to hurt myself with online things.
Oh, don't we all? So instead, we're watching episode 29, Robotnik Jr.
And then also 32.
Yeah, and 32, Momma Robotnik returns. But for now, episode 29, Robotnik Jr., we open up with a segment where Robotnik, Scratch and Grounder are trying to set up a trap for Sonic. It's like a big vacuum ray, like a ray gun that acts as a vacuum. They use it to catch Sonic, but Sonic's able to grab onto a boulder. So, in fear of being crushed by a boulder, Scratch and Grounder turn off the vacuum ray.
Well, they don't turn it off. They can't turn it off.
So... They can't turn it off. They instead point it in the air.
Yeah.
So that it's facing away from the boulder. But instead they accidentally hit Robotnik, and he crashes into them.
Womp womp.
After this failure, Robotnik has entered his lair, and he's pulled up the drawbridge that's always been there, and says that Scratch and Grounder can't come back in.
Yeah, it's always been there, as we know.
And then...
This cartoon is very consistent.
He thinks about how incompetent his robots are, and tries to make someone like him. And then he decides, I'm going to make a robot son. And he does that. It's Robotnik Jr. He looks like Robotnik, but like, if Robotnik were a rude teen. same proportions, because this is Looney Tunes shit, but, like, mohawk, different voice. He likes to say big whoop a bunch.
Big whoop.
Yeah, this kid's cool.
Yeah. After the completion of Robotnik Jr., the Scratch and Grounder are coming in to apologize, and they see Robotnik Jr. spray painting on Robotnik's ass. I don't even remember. It was like wide load, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like, please kick me, wide load.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought about how much the show is obsessed with just repeatedly drawing Robotnik's ass.
They love his ass.
I think it's straight up, like, it's in, like, the documents, the show Bible, so to speak, that we should draw Robotnik's ass all the time. I think why am I forgetting his name? I've mentioned him before on him. Something... fuck, I forgot the name of, like, the character designer for the show. I've shouted him out before, I've plugged him, I've mentioned his Patreon, which, if you have the money, you should donate to.
I don't remember that. We always see his ass crack. Like, his pants are always, like, showing crack. Like, not that they're too low. Like, they form...
those things are, like, riding up.
Yeah, they form to his ass.
Yeah. It's Milton Knight. I looked it up. It's Milton Knight. He's, like... I think he's kind of cool. He's, like, very inspired by, like, Rubber Hose animation. Some of his, like, projects in the years since have been, like, based on that, and also, like, his relationship as a black man to, like, that sort of historical bias that it has, i.e. racist. He's cool. I think he's cool. Anyways.
I looked up the character notes, and I like that it's like, Robotnik is not a straight villain. And I'm like, damn, true.
Yeah,
he isn't.
But it's because he's an object of ridicule. But I'm like, yeah, he's not a straight villain. You're right.
It's true.
Yeah. Like, a big thing that, like, is emphasized in, like, these design documents is, like, he's the rude, mean adult you hated as a kid.
God.
Yeah,
he's handsome.
He is very handsome, and he does have an excellent voice actor.
It says he's handsome on the notes. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was like, but I love this.
Yeah. But yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, it is occurring to me that he is working off the same school as design as, like, Mr. Krupp from Captain Underpants. Anyways, yeah, he, like, one of the things was play up his fat fucking ass because it's hilarious.
He saw Robotnik in the comics and was like, damn, I bet he got yeet.
Mm-hmm.
He did, and he does.
Yeah. So, after this bit of, like, prankery, Robotnik, in his, like, twisted villain way, is proud of his horrible garbage son, because he's just like him, a rude, cruel teen. And he then, like, gives Robotnik Jr. his own Egg-O-Matic, which he hotwires for fun.
This kid is so cool.
He's like, yeah, he's like, I want to steal that, and Robotnik explains it's his already, he doesn't have to. But then he says, I want to steal it anyway, and he, like, pops open and starts, like, messing with the wiring.
Pretty good.
This kid rules.
Yeah. There's like this Lion King bit where they fly over these campgrounds, and Robotnik tells Junior that someday all this land will be his to plunder and terrorize. And then they go camping. And because they're villains, their idea of camping is to start paving over the lush green meadows with asphalt and like setting up a big expensive RV.
I love the logic and reasoning for this, where he's just like, why are we doing, with the kids, it's just like, why are we doing this? And he's like, well, we need a parking lot to park our RV. And he's like, okay. He's like, and then we'll need a highway so we can get our RV here. Knowing full well it's already there.
And we need a way for planes to come in so it's more noisy.
Yeah, he said, to get rid of all this wonderful peace and quiet, we'll need an airport.
Yeah. Sonic and Tails see smoke in the distance, and where there's smoke, they pinch back.
Okay.
Thank you, Sonic.
Sonic stops Scratching Grounder piloting the big rolled roller, disguised as a inspector from the asphalt company. He does this Bugs Bunny stuff where he announces that the asphalt's recalled because it's defective, and so is the roller, which is also defective, and he basically tricks them into, like, getting stuck in the still cooling tar, and then he backs up over them in the road roller. They're cartoons, so it's okay. Let's see.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. He also rolls over the RV that Robotnik and Junior are by, and Sonic meets Junior. And he does this little thing where he dodges Junior, and Junior sprays into Robotnik's face. And runs away. Robotnik and Junior realize they need to get to work with catching Sonic. Junior hates the idea of work, so he hates this.
Damn, me too.
We get Robotnik, teaching Junior about the importance of catching Sonic and, a trap to set up. And the whole time, Junior's, shooting spitballs at him when he's not looking. Then we get this plan in action. Scratching Grounder lures Sonic into a labyrinth, and in the center of the labyrinth is a hole that leads into the sewer, but it seems more like a cave system.
Yeah, it's weird because it's they talk about the sewer, but it's weird there's a labyrinth. I know it's funny animation stuff, but I was still what the fuck?
I really love the idea of Robotnik finding a random drain into a sewer / cave system. It was perfect. I'll set up an elaborate labyrinth right here to trick Sonic into running into it now.
Yeah. So, where was I? I forgot what I was... But yeah, they get Sonic in there, but Sonic just is able to saw through the walls and escapes. So they come up with a backup plan. Well, Junior has a backup plan. He set up another trapdoor in the middle of nowhere, right where Sonic's about to run, and Sonic falls into the sewers. He does this thing where
Sonic drowns.
Yeah. Then he does this spin around whirlwind thing, where he creates a big geyser to lift him up out.
Hey, I have a question about this scene.
Yeah.
Is this the only piece of media or Sonic cartoon media that remembers that he eats air bubbles to breathe underwater?
I'm thinking. I feel there's a lot of stuff that talks about his inability to swim. I don't know how much stuff involves air bubbles specifically.
Because this is like the only game mechanic that pops into this.
Yeah.
I just think it's neat that they remember that.
My gut says that they probably do it at some point in the comics. I have no idea. Sonic is a lot like Jonathan Joestar because he knows that the best way to get air bubbles is to go to the bottom where all the air bubbles are coming out.
You
said Blue Hedgehog Overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a JoJo reference?
No, I've never seen it.
Okay. It's like, well.
Well.
Yep. Let's see. Scratch and Grounder are getting put on laundry duty because they don't have to catch Sonic anymore. Also there's like a bit where Tails sees Sonic after he come out of the sewer and says he looked flushed. Haha.
Ha! He got flushed, haha!
Like a toilet.
Was Tails just gonna let Sonic drown?
I don't think he realized he was there. Or maybe...
No, he didn't.
Okay.
So, yeah, Scratch and Grounder come up with a plot to get rid of Junior. Because they don't like how Junior treats them. So, well, I think they don't like that Robotnik likes Junior more than them. That might be it.
Yeah, Junior's the new favorite, and they don't like he.
Mm-hmm. Robotnik is, like, telling Junior about how he's another in a long line of Robotniks, all of whom are so evil, although he's the first that was, like, made in the lab.
And every Robotnik except this Robotnik has fucked.
Yeah. I'm extremely concerned about the idea that Momma Robotnik has, in some point in her life, fucked.
Momma Robotnik doing the Chad walk in while Virgin Robotnik has to get kicked out.
Yeah.
Damn. It's true.
I'm just... anyways.
Does this mean Junior's gonna look like that for, like, ever? Since he's a robot, will Junior look like that forever?
I assume. Unless he, like, changed himself physically. He could probably do that.
Well, actually, he'll never look like this again because he is gone after this episode.
No, he actually comes back in a way later episode. We will talk about that episode. Yeah, he comes back.
Why?
Robotnik decides to celebrate their victory. He's going to take Junior fishing. Another father-son bonding activity. Scratch and Grounder take him to the lake, and they bring a cement mixer to the lake. And then they get Junior to climb into the cement mixer to check how it's doing, because they want to dump cement in the lake so the fish all get caught. And then a big boot comes out of the cement mixer while Junior's looking in, and he gets kicked in.
I'm like, dude, you got tricked. You got fooled.
He was fucking bamboozled.
Don't blame him. He's a day old.
True.
He is 1 day old. Sonic hears someone calling for help, and he decides he's gonna rescue Junior. So he does. He, like, swings in from a tree branch and stuff. After getting saved, Junior is confused because why did Sonic save him? That doesn't make any sense. And then Sonic and Tails, like...
True.
Sonic and Tails try to, like, convert Junior to the light side. They, like, explain, well, they're like, Scratch and Grounder suck, don't hang out with them. And so does your dad. And then they point out that Scratch and Grounder kicked him in. And then he gets, second thoughts. And then Robotnik flies in with a big crane to save his beloved robot son and his other 2 robot sons. And, Junior thanks Sonic as he's being airlifted. When they get back to the lair, Junior tells Robotnik that Sonic helped him. And Robotnik is freaking out because that can't be true. There's no way. Sonic's their enemy.
He thinks Junior is sick.
Yep.
He thinks Junior's sick in the head. He's, about to say stuff about that, but, Junior's about to say, no, it was Scratch and Grounder that kicked me into the cement. But
yeah, but he gets interrupted, and then Scratch and Grounder tie him up so he can't say anything.
They tie him up with bandages because he's sick.
Mm-hmm.
And, so Robotnik's the best way to cure a sickness is to take revenge.
Mm-hmm. So his plot is... And this is a little weird because there are some details that don't make a lot of sense. He creates this big tower with a magnifying glass, which is supposed to power a laser that can zap Sonic. Scratch and Grounder try to explain to him that it's got 100 square mile radius. Robotnik talks about, well, somehow. I'm evil. Yeah, somehow, even though it doesn't seem to be the case when it gets used, but whatever. Robotnik talks about, well, we're evil, that's a bonus. And he makes Junior watch him do this, but Junior breaks out. He decides he's going to try to save Sonic from this laser by flying in the way with his Egg-O-Matic. Junior successfully blocks the beam. I'm a little lost here because, my notes get a little muddled here. Sonic realizes what's going on and he breaks the laser tower. And, I think, Junior realizes he does something good. And he disowns Robotnik and leaves, I think. We end the episode. Robotnik, his plans foiled once again. He shouts, "I hate that hedgehog," his iconic catchphrase. And then we get a Sonic Says. Junior keeps Scratch from setting off a trap on Sonic, and Sonic tells Junior not to succumb to peer pressure. That's it for that episode.
If your friends ever tell you to get in a dryer...
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's really cool to get in a dryer. Don't believe them.
Don't believe their lies. Episode 32, Momma Robotnik returns. And this episode opens with the opening scene of Michiko and Hatchin, where a mom escapes prison. She
it's
eventually...
not exactly prison. I know it's just a reference, but isn't it a home?
It's an old folks home for supervillains.
It's a prison.
Yeah, it's a prison. But she escapes this high security nursing home. And she steals a hover truck that's delivering milk. There's this cow that's driving it, and he's offering milk and eggs and stuff.
Mobius.
Yeah, Mobius.
Yeah, he's just driving around the middle of nowhere being you want some eggs?
We cut over to Robotnik and his boys, who are hauling a machine to Mobius's famous microwave towers. I guess these are just big antennas sticking out of a mountain.
Famous.
But, yeah. He's taking this machine to the tower, and if he uses the machine with it, he'll take over all machines on Mobius. Sonic and Tails show up to stop him. Robotnik turns this car that they were driving to here with the machine into a big robot, and Sonic is able to defeat it by overinflating one of the tires while dressed as a gas station attendant.
Well, they had to inflate something.
There's something
in this episode needs to get inflated.
Ideally, it's a person, because you can make them big and round, but this time it's just a physical object.
Sorry if you hear meowing. My sister's cat's going crazy right now, and she's usually not like this.
Okay. Huh.
I didn't hear anything.
Okay, sorry.
I'll decide what... Depending on how it sounds, I may or may not try to leave it in.
Okay.
After their plans are foiled again, Momma Robotnik shows up to Robotnik, and she orders them to go back to the lair. Once they're at the lair, she starts trashing a table that Robotnik has a bunch of stuff on, and decides that she's going to take over his schemes for him, because she's so embarrassed by all of the other ladies at the nursing home talking about how he's never succeeding in his plans to take over the world. Robotnik, desperate to save face, explains the machine's still there, you just have to turn it on and it'll be fine. We'll rule the world. We'll control all of the machines on Mobius. And then she disowns Robotnik, kicks him out of his own house, and makes Robotnik's goons her new sons.
Remember this for later.
There's an incredible bit in this where Scratch and Grounder become her new sons, and Coconuts comes out of nowhere, and he's like, "Can I be your son?" And she's like, "Of course, Coconuts, anything." And he's like, "I would love not to be on sewer duty anymore." And she's like, "Sure, you're my son." And then gives him a hug, and then immediately throws him back into the sewers.
Yeah. It's great.
It's the fact that everyone is just like, Coconuts needs to be in the sewer.
That's where he belongs.
He lives in the dirty, dirty sewer.
So what else was I gonna say? So yeah, I'm just astounded by the idea of your parent comes to your house, she disowns you, and then kicks you out of your own house.
That'd be so fucked up. Well,
yeah.
My mom could do that here because I'm technically staying at her place. But still be pretty fucked up.
I'm just amused by the idea of you already have your own house but get kicked out of it anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
And then your servant / children are great, we have a new mother.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma.
Grandma, thank you.
We cut to Tails, who is flying around this lake, and he high fives a fish. I guess this is a fly fishing joke. I don't know.
He's like Geronimo and then slaps the hand of a fish. I don't know.
Yeah. Then Sonic shows up and tells Tails, hey, there's a sign here that says it's a no-fly zone. You can't fly here. And we get a little mini Sonic Says where he explains, you should always obey the rule of law. So says me, the cool teen Sonic.
Remember, it's incredibly cool to follow the laws and do as you're told all the time. I love cops.
Remember, kids, always follow the rules. That's why I'm a vagabond and don't follow rules.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I hate the cruel dictator who is trying to enforce laws.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's doing it illegally. That's the problem. If he just went through the proper channels, it'd be fine.
If he was president...
No, I swear there was a time that he got elected. Isn't there an episode in this where Robotnik gets elected?
There is an episode where Robotnik gets elected. I'll make sure to include that. It's way later on.
Oh, okay. I had a vision of the future.
Yeah.
He hasn't been elected yet.
As long as he gets elected, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic is all about voting.
Yeah, I might check again just to make sure whether or not it's a later episode or not. I will if we didn't talk about it, I'll make sure to include it in a future episode.
Sonic thinks the blue wave is about him.
Sonic says, remember, Tails, the midterms are coming up.
Okay, I looked up the episode. Yeah, it's a bit later on. We'll talk about it when we get to it.
Sonic, I'm not old enough to vote.
Remember, Tails, as long as you don't register third party.
Oh, and then Tails runs into a tree because he's like, oh, that no-fly zone is for kids. Watch me. And then he's not paying attention and runs into a tree.
He's also 4 years old.
Instantly.
He's also a child, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know what? So is Sonic. Sonic is a child.
No, Sonic is a hedgehog.
Yeah, that's
true.
Sonic gets court ordered. Sonic gets a court order, and because of what he said, he has to follow the laws. He goes to court.
It's very funny that, like, the mailman could just find him wherever.
Yeah.
It's very...
Sonic is fast, but the mail is faster.
It reminds me of, like, how in Twilight Princess, the mail guy just runs and finds Link.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wherever you are.
Right. So... in court, Sonic is told that somebody wants to adopt him. And Sonic says he doesn't want to be adopted. There's a bit where they say, are you a minor? And he says, no, I'm a hedgehog. And then he says, are you an adult? And he says, no way! So, he gets adopted.
Yeah, just right there. He's like, well, you're a minor, and someone wants to adopt you, so... here you go. Like,
yep.
No say. Doesn't matter.
Sonic gets forcibly adopted by Momma Robotnik in disguise. And I would describe the rest of this episode as a much more cartoony version of a series of unfortunate events.
You know what?
Sonic...
yeah.
Yeah. Sonic is legally forced to get adopted by an evil woman in disguise. He gets to meet there's this bit where he's with a social worker, and she's got a literal beehive haircut. Like, the bees are buzzing as she's walking around. It's a little unnerving.
Yeah.
Those were bees.
What do you think
I thought they were flies. I thought they were flies and that they were saying she was stinky.
Oh no, she has like a beehive.
No.
There's like a little hole in it.
Fucked up.
It's wild.
It does look like the poop emoji a little bit, so I could see that also being like...
Yeah. You could give her a cartoon poop hair and have the flies buzzing around. But anyways, after the social worker leaves, Momma Robotnik reveals that Tails is in a death trap with his tails locked up. It's like a prison cell, but the floor leads to a death pit. It can just open up into a death pit.
Yeah, and because his tails are locked up, he can't like fly out of the death pit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did skip a part where Sonic gets adopted by Momma Robotnik, and he says, "You can't have her adopt me. She's my greatest enemy." And the judge says, "But she looks nice." And then she says, "Guess what I'm doing to your friend outside? I'm capturing him." And he says, "Judge, do you see that?" And he says, "Nope."
He's like,
so that's how Tails got here.
Yeah, Tails got kidnapped.
Just like right
Tails
outside the court.
Tails got trolled.
Tails gets trolled.
Tails does in fact get trolled. Sonic is sent to a prison cell as opposed to the fake nice room the social worker was shown. And by all accounts, Sonic has lost to Momma Robotnik, and the bad guys won. He's also being given orders to just clean the lair over and over again.
Which he follows?
Yeah.
Well, he has to, because otherwise Tails will be fucking killed, I guess.
Yeah.
Sonic, you're so fast, just search the house.
Mm-hmm. One night, Robotnik shows up, and he runs into Coconuts, and he convinces Coconuts to help him take his lair back.
He tells Coconuts he'll let him, like, lead over Scratch and Grounder if he does it. Because he's also like, Momma Robotnik sucks. She made me go in the sewers.
Yeah.
And then Robotnik, is like, oh, I'll, do that. And he's like, I wouldn't lie to you, would I? And Coconuts is like, you have before.
So we get this bit where Sonic is cleaning a robot rendering machine, and they let Scratch and Grounder turn it on while he's cleaning it, but he's so fast that it's no problem for him. In fact, while they're doing this, Scratch gets caught in the machine and gets, like, I guess rendered? He gets turned into a weird cube. And meanwhile, Momma Robotnik has enacted that take over all the machines plan and is just using machines to cause havoc all over Mobius. Wait, am I missing something? No, I don't think so.
We did skip over a part where Sonic was cleaning the window, and Grounder
was like
starts unscrewing it.
Yeah, Grounder was gonna drop the window and have Sonic just fucking die.
Yeah, that happened. But yeah,
there was just like a funny line reading where he's just kind of like, Sonic's like, "Oh, Mama won't like it if I make a mess," and Grounder's just like, "Yeah, she sent me up here, dude." And just like that, he's like, "Dude, she's trying to kill you."
I like that Sonic is like foiling their plans still, even though he's like trapped. But it gets to a point where like it gets to be too much. And they're like, "You're not doing what Mama says."
Yeah. at some point, like, Sonic starts arguing with Momma Robotnik, and she, like, grabs him, and the social worker shows up, along with Robotnik.
She grabs him, but it's after, like, he'd been foiling Scratch and Grounder's, like, attempts at killing him, and so Momma Robotnik, like, makes it so, like, the door to Tails' cell opens slowly.
Yeah.
And Sonic's, like, about to protest, and she grabs his arm and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the social worker appears and is just like, is this a bad time?
Mm-hmm. And Robotnik shows up, and while, like, talking with Momma Robotnik, it's revealed Momma Robotnik disowned him, and if you disown a child, you cannot adopt another, according to Mobius law. So Sonic gets unadopted. I think Sonic tears Robotnik's mustache off. I don't know what's going on there.
Yes, he does. So he tears Robotnik's mustache off and then puts it on Momma Robotnik in order to show, like, that they're related. And he's like, the mustache never lies. And, that reminded me. I was like, didn't she have a mustache previously?
I swear to God she had one.
Yeah, I think she had one in the previous one she was in.
Right.
She must have shaved it at the home.
I guess.
But then she got it back from Robotnik.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, she disowned him. They're related, Avi.
This is also the start where Robotnik doesn't get his mustache back at all this episode.
Oh, fuck, I forgot. Yeah. He
goes mustacheless.
It's very unnerving.
It is.
Yeah, I don't like it. Especially
when in the previous episode, we didn't mention this, but, like, there were at least 2 screen wipes that were his mustache as screen wipes. So, like...
Like, there's one time where his son spray paints him in the face, and he just, like, wipes it away with his mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that too!
Yeah.
I'm starting to think the mustache is his first son.
The mustache is one of the most important things about his design.
It's his original creation.
It's his mustache and his ass.
Robotnik without a mustache is like Mario without a mustache. It looks wrong.
True.
The writing room has 2 prompts above everything they do. 1 is never forget the mustache. 2 is never forget the yeeks.
Yep.
True.
So, the social worker runs away, talks about how being a police officer is safer than this.
And she's right. The thing is it's a joke here, but she's right.
Yeah. And Sonic saves Tails from falling into a bottomless pit. He, like, has to run into a big prison room and figure out which one Tails is in.
Sonic spins into the door when he sees them in the door. When he sees them through the door window.
And Momma Robotnik is arrested. The status quo is restored. The end. And then we get one last Sonic Says, where Sonic and Tails are in court because of the no-fly rule Tails broke before. And Tails is sentenced to no flying for a full month, but Sonic explains, well, it's fair, because judges are fair, and it could be worse. You could be in a prison cell again. Always obey the rule of law.
He's like, you don't want to go to court. And I'm like, well, that's not always my choice. I would say 90% of the time. 99% of the time, it's not my choice to be in a fucking courtroom.
Remember, kids, the system is never wrong, and if you do anything wrong ever and you go to jail, that's your fault.
Yeah.
Sonic's all about obeying the rules, famously.
Yeah. And so that's the end of our episodes for today. Let's see what we got for questions. If you want to send in a question, you can either you can either respond to an Ask post, usually posted the day before, usually on Wednesday night or Thursday, the day of recording, or you can message us anytime at your leisure in the Ask Zone on our Discord. Let me check the Twitter questions first. Oh, we didn't get any Twitter questions. Okay. We didn't get a lot of questions this week. We got 3. The first question... Oh, wait, that's not a question, that's a comment. But James the Cat Girl does comment... this is a 2-parter about Robotnik's family issues. Jasmine Sidmon asks, who would Sonic adopt as his lookalike mother and child? Is there a Sonic who says about how it's not your fault if you get disowned?
It would have been for this one, I think, because...
It actually is your fault because you were a bad child and you broke the law.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that the kid just had bad vibes?
Sometimes the kids
consider.
Sometimes the kids just have bad vibes.
Except the mom
Your Honor,
also.
Did you ever consider his vibes were rancid?
But except the mom also has bad vibes in this case.
Yeah.
So
the mom does have bad vibes. And so does the dad.
Does Sonic have a lookalike mother and child, even?
Now that I think about it, there in the Archie comics, we eventually get to see Sonic's parents.
Cursed.
Sure.
From what I remember, of course they look similar to Sonic, but, like, one of them, Sonic's dad, was, like, the first, Mobian to get turned into a robot. And he actually stays a robot even after, like, this, like, big plot event where a bunch of people get de-roboticized.
Interesting.
The second is, Sonic's mom. I don't remember her deal, but she looks like Sonic, but a girl with blonde hair. I think.
That's
I can't
weird.
remember.
That's frightening.
Why doesn't she have blue hair? What the fuck?
I don't like that.
It's not quite a wig. It's more like she's got like a little quiff of blonde hair, like a little streak.
Okay.
I don't remember off the top of my head though.
A wig?
But we will see Sonic's mom and Sonic's dad someday.
We've already seen Sonic's mom.
Oh, right. We forgot about the Sonic Bible. Sonic's dead dad, his mom, who...
We've seen her. Like, we've seen her in Underground for a brief second.
Oh, right. Fuck. What am I thinking?
We see her every
Sonic
single
Underground?
Intro in Sonic Underground.
Oh, true, yeah. But
yes.
I'm thinking this Sonic specifically. Or...
Anyways,
also,
we've already seen Sonic's kids, too.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck, that's right.
Yeah, remember when Robotnik died and then they did a jump to the future and Sonic had kids?
Oh, I hate that. You're so right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that, like, there's just so many different, like, Sonic is always, like, a certain way, but, like, his family is always different. If he even has family, because, like, it sounded like Sega doesn't even want him to show family. Like,
yeah, nowadays Sonic has no relatives.
Sonic's just a fucking orphan. But he might, like... I just thought... he doesn't look like Sonic, but I was thinking of another Sega property. I was like, Kiryu would probably try to adopt Sonic, yeah?
Kiryu would adopt Sonic is the thing.
In a heartbeat.
He doesn't look like Sonic, but I'm like, I feel like he'd be a better dad than a lot of other people.
He is one of the best dads in video games. The opening chapters of Yakuza 3 that are all about Kiryu being a dad are the best parts of the game, and he's a really good dad.
This game always sounds fucking ridiculous. I'm just like, you're part of a gang, but you're also like a dad, and you also like do weird tasks, and you have a heart of gold, and I'm like, I think Yakuza is the only video game.
It is the only video game.
The thing you also got to remember about Yakuza is that in every game, Kiryu does get kicked out of the Yakuza.
Yeah.
During the start of every game.
Yeah, he does. He spends a significant portion of the games not in the Yakuza.
I love that it's still called Yakuza, though.
Yeah. I mean, they had to make it interesting to American audiences who loved Grand Theft Auto.
Sure.
What else? Yeah, our second and final question comes from Keith the Mouse, friend of the show, Keith. If you could have Momma Robotnik show up in any other version of Sonic continuity, what would it be? You know,
I think this version of Momma Robotnik would be very funny in Sad AM.
I was just thinking that because I was like, he's so like, Robotnik's so serious that it would be like very strange to see like this cartoonish woman just like domineering everything.
Momma Robotnik should be one of... Yeah?
I just like, could you imagine like that Robotnik with his like evil robotic voice, and she just barges in and he just goes, Mama. He just has like, just, no, Mommy.
Smells like Mommy.
But
it smells like Mommy is coming.
I'm gonna
Apparently he sounds like Steppenwolf now.
Everyone sounds like Steppenwolf now.
I was going to say, maybe get Momma Robotnik in one of the new Sonic live action films. But
oh my god!
Oh my god!
We famously know that Jim Carrey Robotnik is an orphan, and because
could you imagine though if he just told people that?
Yeah, because he just didn't want...
Momma Robotnik just shows up, and he's just like, yeah, I lied.
He's like, I lied, and I hate her. I hate talking about her. It sucks. Or, like, maybe it's like, oh, she disowned me, like, sometimes, but then, like, takes me back sometimes.
She just exists in the Sonic world for no reason. She's not actually his mom. She's just, like, the Sonic universe's version of him. And also she's still a cartoon woman, but she's also very much still a war criminal.
God.
Yes.
It's just like everything's live action except for her.
Yes, she's Roger Rabbited in.
They should put Momma Robotnik in Sonic 06.
I am now remembering that, like, one of the artists who worked on Archie Sonic and does, like, covers and stuff for IDW, John Gray, he fucking loves Momma Robotnik as, like, a bit, and makes jokes about, like, trying to convince the writing staff to put Momma Robotnik in the main comics.
Oh my God.
He loves them big mommies roboters.
Well, she did have mommy milkers this time.
Yeah, she did rob a milk truck.
So I think that wraps up questions for today. Let me figure out where I put my die so I can roll for next week. There it is. Okay, rolling. Huh. That's a 0, which means... That's a 10, which means... we're gonna talk about more Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics. Maybe we'll talk about more this time since there wasn't a lot to talk about last time. Yeah, we'll talk about that next time. Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics for the Nintendo DS. Hi, it's Dan. Just want to let you know, we decided that for episode 50, based on listener response, we are actually going to talk about the Sonic fan film. So look forward to that.
Did you hear? They're trying... Oh, I guess we talked about that last time. We were going to do a Sonic... Or there was going to be another Olympics.
Yeah, Sonic... You can wear you can wear a mascot suit in the official 2020 Olympics game. So, with that, Sonic is real. Oh, wait, what am I saying? Let's do plugs. I'm Dan. You can find me at a lot of places, and you can find all those places at linktr.ee/big_challenges. From there, you can find my Twitter, @biggerchallenge. You can find my other podcasts, which include Pot of Greed, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. We are making our way through Season 2, and at the time of this recording, it'll be over by the time you hear this, or close to done, is the Cup of Greed tournament. The Cup of Greed tournament is a Legacy Rules Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament run in EDO Pro, streamed on Twitch, or maybe we're streaming on Discord. We'll find out. And people come up with fun dual sonas, and we'll try to get the VODs up afterwards. You can listen to Stranger's Fiction, an actual play podcast focused on one-shots. We are in the process of uploading our interstitial actual play. I think by the time you hear this, episode 6 will have gone up. I don't remember what happens in episode 6, so I don't know. And you can listen to Video Game, the Movie, the podcast, a video game movie podcast I do with my friend Maxie, and we are going through this month, June. We are going to be talking about the Sonic OVA. So look forward to that. It'll also be after E3, so we'll try to talk about stuff that happened at E3. And last but not least, you can visit at Xbox_holiday, where Usher celebrates holidays with Xbox. And I think the closest thing after that will be, or the closest thing to the date this goes up will be happy birthday, Kazuma Kiryu. We brought it back. Okay.
Hey.
Morg, where can we find you?
You can find me at Haunting the Morgue on Twitter. That's Haunting the MORG. You can also find me on my other podcast, Departure Lounge. An airplane-themed Hunter x Hunter watching podcast where I go through it for the first time and my co-pilots go through it for, another time, because at least one of them, I think, saw it more than once. And it's good, and I like to see it, and even if the podcast itself is not past York New City, we are. The recordings are up past York New City, and it's good, and I like it. Well, I think technically it's gonna be past it for the next one, because yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, good show, good podcast. Devin. Go for it.
You can find me on Twitter at Grooving Ghastly, and you can also find me on a Hunter x Hunter podcast called Going Well Hunting. We're in the Great Island arc. Eventually I'll upload episodes again. It's good. Having a great time with it.
Mm-hmm. And with that, as always, Sonic is... Oh, wait. I forgot to do noise space plugs. Okay. You can find us at Shuffle Sonic on Twitter, and from there you can find our Discord. And we are from Noisepace.xyz. Noisepace.xyz is a podcast incubator, and it has Z in it because it's run by Canadians. This week, in our alphabetical discussion of every podcast, did we talk about Kamurocho Radio last time? I don't remember.
I do not remember.
I believe so.
Alright. Then this week, our alphabetical shout-out is Kyle XY? A Kyle XY podcast. It's based on the hit ABC Family TV show about the boy with no belly button. It's really, really good. If you haven't listened to it, then you probably should, because I think, like, a couple episodes ago, we just loaded on the Kyle XY references in here.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean when we all just started shouting, "Juice me"?
Yeah. And we compared Sonic to Josh Traeger, enemy of Kyle XY.
Fuck. Yeah.
It's true, though. Do you think Josh Traeger has ever made his own, like, Sonic the Hedgehog Sona?
I think we decided...
This would be a question for the pod.
I think we decided he kins Shadow in the Kyle XY Discord. Because even though he acts more like a Sonic in some of the shows, he would think edgy Shadow is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have played Shadow the Hedgehog where Shadow got to hold a gun and he said, "That's me."
Mm-hmm. Alright. And with that, as always, Sonic is real, he is strong, and he is my friend.
He's the only blue life that matters.
Good night,
Except
everyone.
for the police.
Oh,
that's what Sonic says.
Oh, wait!
Fuck. Good night, everyone.
Good night.